I have never told this story in this way before. I don't really talk about it much because it happened a long time ago, and it's pretty traumatic to think about, but I am reminded of it once a year. In my early 30s, I woke up with a large lump on my neck. It just kind of appeared out of nowhere. I went to a doctor and he said that I was going to need to get some blood tests done. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna do this and see what happens. He wanted to make sure that it wasn't something serious like cancer. So I went to go get the blood test done, and then after you do that, you kind of just have to wait. And that time period when you're waiting is kind of difficult to deal with, I guess, as you could imagine. You kind of just are thinking, what if it's cancer? What am I going to do? Hopefully it's not. What's it like? What am I going to have to go through with this? Is it serious? I finally got the call to go in and pick up the test results. I remember that day because I had to go to work that afternoon. I lived in New Jersey. My job was in Philly. I drove to the place in New Jersey to pick up my blood test results. Was all ready for work, dialed up and everything. It was a retail store. I drove into the lab and parked, and you feel kind of numb when you do stuff like this because you're just waiting to see if your doom is sealed or something of that effect. But I still had a positive outlook. I get handed the envelope, and then in the lobby, I hear a loud commotion. A lot of people were, like, I don't know, it sounded like crying. So I go into the lobby, I have my envelope in my hand, and I see people standing in kind of a crowd around a small television set. People are gasping and crying, and I was pushing people aside, and I said, "What's going on? Is it a fire?" And they moved aside, and I saw on the TV.
Not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I looked around, and people were holding their face and holding their hands to their mouths, and I just kind of stared at the TV and saw all the smoke and flames, and I really didn't know what was going on until someone said that the World Trade Center had been hit by an airplane. 2, in fact. I thought, are we at war? Are we, is it over? Look at all these people. What about the people on the top floors? What's happening? I was in complete and utter shock at what I was seeing. And I stood there for a few minutes. I don't even remember how long I stood there. What I think happened was I knew I had to go to work. So I left the building, got into my car, looked at the papers, and saw what the results were, that I was gonna have to have chemo. I mean, what are the odds of that? I get told I have cancer, and the whole world comes crashing down. I felt really guilty about feeling sorry for myself. So after a little bit, I just started the car and headed over the Ben Franklin Bridge from New Jersey to Philadelphia to go to work. The place was deserted. There was no one on the bridge. There was no one on any of the roads. I thought, should I be driving over this bridge? Is there gonna be a bomb exploding on the bridge? Is this safe? I had never experienced anything like this. I don't think a lot of people experience things like this. So got over the bridge safely, went to the store where I work and parked like normal. I was the manager, so I had keys to open the store, and I sat there and I've kind of looked out the window and saw that streets were just deserted. No one was coming outside. It was so bizarre. And I called my boss and I said, should we close for the day? And she said, yeah, I think you should just close shop and go home. So I locked the store back up and I drove out of Philadelphia and across the Ben Franklin Bridge again, looking around like this, going, oh my God, what's happening? Am I gonna blow up on this bridge? That's just the thing I kept thinking about. And then I drove home, watched the TV, and at that point, I decided that I wasn't gonna feel sorry for myself that day because I was alive and I was planning on staying alive. And those people have it way worse than me because I was gonna get through this. And so I didn't think about myself that day. I also decided that I was never gonna be afraid again. You know, all those little things that I wanna do that I don't do because maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I feel like I'm too short, or, you know, the wrong color or something like that. I don't hide away from those things anymore. I get out there and I try. Because I beat cancer and now I'm fearless. I'm not gonna let anything ever stop me.